Hello again. Welcome back. Good morning. And it actually is morning this time, so that's kind of helpful. Today's video is going to be titled, It's Almost Never About You. And honestly, guys, I'm going to be super honest with you. I am making this video as much as I am for you guys, for me. Because, boy, sometimes you take things so personally, and you have to remind yourself that it is in fact not personal, and people are doing things not because they are trying to directly spite you, or they're trying to affect you or upset you, or they hate you. They are doing things because they are doing things, it has nothing to do with me. And so I need to try and remind myself that, because lately there have been a few situations that I'm taking very personally, and it has nothing to do with me at all, whatsoever. Nothing. So, yeah, I think, okay, so there's this thing called internalized whatever. Internalized homophobia, internalized self-hate, internalized whatever. We tend, as humans, especially people who overthink, people with ADD, ADHD, who are on the spectrum, neurodivergent people, we tend to internalize things pretty heavily. And what I mean by that is you take a situation and you basically bring it inside of you, and you let it do all of this damage inside of you. You internalize it, you bring it inside your body, and boy, does it ever hurt, and boy, can you really do some damage. So I think that is basically what we're talking about today, because these situations that have happened recently, I think about them quite a lot because I'm an overthinker, and because what else are you going to do? You're obviously going to think about them. But you really have to take it and just say, you know what? It isn't personal. I can't internalize these problems. These aren't really problems to begin with if you really think about them. And you can't let other people's perceived perception, so it's not even what they actually think of you, it's what you think they think of you. So you can't let that determine how you're going to live your life and what you're going to do. Because, guys, I'm telling you, people think about themselves a lot more than they're thinking about you. It's really easy to think like, oh gosh, I've got a massive zit on my face. Like, oh my gosh, like everybody's going to see it. And then nobody does, because everybody is too busy worrying about the zits on their own face. And everybody is too worried about how they look, and oh, their zipper broke, or they've got a rip in their shirt that they nobody is looking at you. And even if they are, even if they notice this little imperfection or this thing that you did, it's usually a fleeting kind of thing. Like, they're like, oh, okay, whatever, like everybody does this, everybody has those problems. Like, they're not going to judge you so harshly for them. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, when you are interacting with people, whether it is friends or dating or your family or whatever, it is very easy to assume and to make a judgment about people's perceptions. And basically you think that these people have like a negative perception of you, or that they're done with you. They don't want to hang out with you. They don't want to be with you. In dating, this can be very easily misconstrued, especially at the early stages when you're just texting somebody. And you just have to remember that, like, it really does have nothing to do with you, becoming like super emotionally invested in somebody early on, and then feeling so personally attacked when you get a text message that they're like, hey, I'm sorry I can't hang out today. Like, it's very easy to take that personally and be like, oh, well, they clearly hate me. It's like, no, they absolutely do not hate you. They probably have a shit ton of stuff going on in their life. They are probably unable to you know, make the commitment that they wanted to. And they might still really want to see you. They might still really want to hang out with you. But it's not good to internalize all of this perception and be like, oh, well, it's over. That's not the mentality that you want to have. The mentality you want to have is something along the lines of like, oh, okay, I'm sorry it didn't work out today, but let me know if you want to hang out again. Because it's so hard to judge perception, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to get it wrong. So why waste all that effort in the first place? But I get it. It's hard. It's very hard not to jump to conclusions. It's very hard to not think that it's about you. It's like, oh, it's clearly about me. Like, it's clearly because I'm a horrible human being. No, it's not. You're not a horrible human. This person was busy. This person was occupied doing other things. Maybe this person really wanted to make this commitment but didn't want to be flaky, and so they're texting you ahead of time saying, I'm sorry, I can't hang out today. But another thing that occurs when you take things personally and you assume everything is about you is it leads to just so much stress and so much self-doubt and insecurity. And that insecurity is not attractive. I'm sorry, but it's not. If you constantly think that every situation is about yourself, it leads to this kind of like insecurity of like, oh gosh, like how's my hair look? Like, oh my gosh, they hate me. Like, and that insecurity is not the vibe. It's not what you want to do. It's not how you want to be perceived. There's a reason people say confidence is key, and that's basically because it is. If you can be a confident human being who's confident in who they are, like you're a good person, you're conquering the world, you're doing everything that you should do, then people are attracted to that. People are very interested in that. And that leads you to a lot better situation because you're not stressed about stuff. You feel confident. It's better for your stress levels, your cortisol levels, like everything. And genuinely, people are attracted to confidence. And if you can own who you are without that like insecurity and like worrying that, oh my gosh, it's always about me, like it's always like I'm always that blah blah blah, you're gonna be really good. Okay, so the last part of this, when I'm talking about like it's almost never about you, has to do with narcissism. I think personally that narcissism is a spectrum, and I think all of us can have like a little bit of it inside of you. Obviously, if you're a full-blown narcissist, like get yourself checked out, like get some help. But narcissism is a spectrum, and if you start to see yourself as like the center of the world and the center of your perception, it's not good. You end up running over people. You end up feeling like you deserve things. None of us deserve anything. Like none of us are promised tomorrow. None of us are a special human that's like different than everyone else. No, we're all humans. We are all equal. None of us deserve anything. And so this whole idea of like seeing yourself as the center of everything and always focusing on like what's clearly about me, like it's clearly because I'm like this, that's dangerous. And that does not lead to like good outcomes and constructive ideas. So you need to make sure that you are not seeing yourself as the center of the universe for many reasons, because it's bad for your health, it's bad for your stress levels, it can be really bad for like a narcissistic tendency. So just in general, there really isn't any good situation where, internalizing everything and thinking it's all about you and like that's not a good situation no matter what. So I don't know. I think I want to develop some kind of mantra that I say to myself. I'm like, it's not about you. It's not about you, Jack. It's not, because it's important to remember that, and it's important to like practice that and put that into your daily life. Because it leads to like so much relaxation. Like when you figure out that like it's not about you and you're just like, you take your hands off the situation, that is so much, like you give yourself so much power. I mean, there is a lot of power in non-action, in wu wei, and to not involve yourself in situations and just be like, no, it's not about me. You know, my hands are out here. I'm fine. That is really powerful. It's incredibly liberating to finally just detach yourself. You know, there's a reason that thousands of years of Buddhist teachings talk about detachment and not allowing yourself to like become entangled in a situation. So just remember, it's not about you. And that's a good thing. You know, believe it or not, that's a really good thing because you don't want to be the center. You don't want to be the main focus. It's nice. It's nice in occasional moments, you know, a moment at the party that, like, oh, like everybody was watching me and it was just such a beautiful moment. We were having so much fun. Cool. That's awesome. But that's for a moment. Never, never strive to be the center for everything. You look at like some of the, you know, child prodigies or the child stars, like the actors who started young, they became the center of everything in everything they were doing with the movies and TV shows and stuff. They burnt out so badly, and some of them are still trying to pick up their lives and restart. So, you know, it's not healthy for a child to develop as the center of the universe, and it's not healthy for your brain either. So, give yourself that liberating thought and just say, you know what? It's not about me. It's not. It's almost never about me. And that's a good thing. That's a liberating thing. That's a freeing thing. Don't let yourself become prey to this center stage mentality. Because even the biggest actor, even the most famous celebrity, might be in front of the camera for 2 hours in a movie, but then they go home and nobody's watching them, you know? And that's healthy. Humans need that. We need to disappear. We need to not be the center of the room. I don't think anybody can survive that. I mean, you look at how presidents age over the 4 or 8 years that they're president, they age a lot. It's stressful. They're the center of the room. Anytime they walk into a place, they are the center of the universe. It's not healthy. It's not good. It's the cortisol. It's the stress that turns them into like, you know, geriatric um, you know, people. So like you don't want to be the center forever. Nobody should. And hopefully if you do it right, it's almost never about you. Don't overthink it. Don't don't stress about it. Just breathe and move on. That was very therapeutic for myself. Thank you. I definitely need to hear that. Thank you for hearing me out. Leave your comments down below, and I will always talk to you tomorrow.